الخير واهلا بحضراتكم ولقاء يتجدد وجناب السفير. معانا النهارده دولة من الدول الآسيوية، معانا جمهورية سريلانكا. هنتكلم عن الطبيعة، عن الحياة في سريلانكا، عن الأزياء، عن المناظر الطبيعية اللي موجودة هناك، عن الأماكن الأثرية والتاريخية والسياحية اللي موجودة، عن طبيعة الشعب، عن كل حاجة، عن التعاون بين مصر وسريلانكا في المجالات المختلفة. معانا النهاردة سعادة السفير موجود في مصر من حوالي شهر وشوية، يمكن أول مرة يزور مصر. هنشوف انطباعه عن مصر، هنشوف الأماكن اللي زارها واللي لسه عايز يزورها، ايه الاتفاقيات اللي عقدها على مستوى التعاون بين مصر وسريلانكا، وايه اللي بيأمله في الفترة القادمة بإذن الله. معانا سعادة السفير باتما نودن، سفير جمهورية سريلانكا بجمهورية مصر العربية. Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you, Dareen.
How long have you been here? I think it's a little bit of time.
It's now 1 month and 2 weeks.
1 month and 2
I
weeks.
came here in Cairo on the 25th of January.
And this is the first time to visit Egypt.
Yes, this is the first time to visit Egypt as the ambassador and as a traveler.
And as a tourist also.
Yes.
Where have you been till now?
Because my office and the residence is in Zamalek, and I have visited Mahdi and New Cairo, and these are the two places at least I can remember the names. A couple of more places
You told me you went to Heliopolis?
Yes, the last week, in fact in this week, early this week, I was privileged enough to present my credentials to His Excellency the President of Egypt, Abdul Al-Sisi, and so I was able to present my credential. That was on this week, in this week.
What's your impression about Egypt and about places in Egypt, and what are your plans to go to where?
Egypt is a great country, so we have read about Egypt, and I am happy that I am able to live in this country for a couple of years as the ambassador. And so while doing my official part, I also hope to visit around the country. So some of the places, as you know, anyone coming to Egypt would want to go to visit the pyramids. So Giza pyramids is well known. In addition to that, I have heard of Alexandria.
You don't see it till now?
Not yet.
Yeah.
So Alexandria and Aswan Dam, and there are many other places in my list of wish list to visit.
سعادة السفير الحقيقة موجود في مصر من شهر وشوية زي ما قلنا، وما راحش أماكن كتير، يعني يمكن راح المعادي، راح مصر الجديدة، وأثناء اعتماد أوراقه من سعادة الرئيس السيسي لما قابله هناك، وراح القاهرة الجديدة. لكن هو بيتمنى إن شاء الله إنه يزور مجموعة من الأماكن اللي سمع عنها زي الأهرامات وزي أماكن كتير عن مصر. What's your impression about Egyptian people and about their style, their friendship, their hospitality, as we said? Do you have any Egyptian friends still now? Or?
Of course. It's a very important thing I must share. In this little time, I realized the Egyptian people are very friendly, very warmly welcoming the guests, because sometimes we don't communicate in each other's language, but still they come forward to us, they greet us, they want to help, and they want to feel any visitor, any foreigner, that they are welcoming foreigners. So that's a very good gesture. I must I appreciate that.
سعادة السفير الحقيقة سعيد بوجوده في مصر وعلاقته بالمصريين، وشايف ان هم قد ايه عندهم حسن الضيافة والتعامل الجيد مع الغريب. هو بيشوف نفسه انه رغم ان هم مش بيعرفوا نفس لغته، لكن في تواصل وفي دفء وفي يعني محبة بينه وبين الشعب المصري اللي هو حاسس بالتواصل معاه. will talk about the cooperation between Sri Lanka and between Egypt, the commercial cooperation, and your last visit to the Chamber of Commerce in Cairo.
Yes.
Talk to us about this visit and about this cooperation in trade field, about import and export.
First, I would like to mention here, Egypt and Sri Lanka has very good relations at the political level and at the people-to-people level. So we have signed many agreements and MOUs which would help and which would provide a framework for economic cooperation. So we have the investment protection agreement, we have the trade facilitation agreement, we have the air services facilitation agreement. There are so many agreements and the MOUs to facilitate trade, services and the investment between the two countries. So we have to work under this agreement. That is my purpose of visiting the Cairo Chamber of Commerce, and so we hope we can facilitate the trade between the two countries, to increase the trade between the two countries. And there are a lot of potentials. Egypt is the gateway to Africa and Sri Lanka is the gateway to South Asia, because these two areas, if you take the South Asia, there is a very big population, very big market, and if you take the African region, there is a very big market. So there is a lot of potential for Sri Lankan investors, Sri Lankan businessmen to reach the African market. In the same way, the Egyptian businessmen can reach the South Asian market through Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka has free trade agreements between India and Sri Lanka, and also with Pakistan, and these two countries form a very big market. So there is a lot of potential, but what is missing, what is lacking is the initiation. So we have to give this information to the business community in both countries. We have to link them together. So that is the objective of my mission, my embassy here, and we are trying to cooperate with the chambers of commerce and the relevant agencies, the ministries, to link the two business communities in the countries.
What's the most important products of Sri Lanka?
Sri Lanka, at one point of time, the Sri Lankan tea was the largest, largest producer, largest exporter of Sri Lankan tea to Cairo. And now there is less amount, but we have increasing demand for Sri Lanka Ceylon tea, because Ceylon tea is a brand well recognized by the Egyptian people. But at one point of time, Ceylon tea became expensive in the market. Now what has happened, because of the change in the tariff or the custom duty, now again the Ceylon tea has become affordable to the middle income level people. So we find in some governorates, the Sri Lankan tea, Ceylon tea, is gaining its lost market. So that's encouraging thing. So Ceylon tea is well recognized and liked by the Egyptian people, and we hope the Ceylon tea will gain more access and available in all the governorates to affordable price. So that is one important product of Sri Lanka available in the Egyptian market. In addition to tea, we have spices. Sri Lankan spices, particularly cinnamon, is world famous, and we find that Egyptian market also keen in getting Ceylon cinnamon into the Egyptian people. And in addition to cinnamon, there are other spices as well. Now there is a demand. And then we find rubber products. So there is a market. And the coconut products, the desiccate coconut, and also coca peat that has been in the practice, that has been in the market. So we find there is a potential. So the Egyptian businessmen are now interested in importing those items from Sri Lanka more and more.
الحقيقة سعادة السفير كان بيكلمنا عن العلاقات التجارية والاقتصادية بين مصر وسريلانكا وزيارته الأخيرة للغرفة التجارية بالقاهرة لزيادة حجم التعاون الاقتصادي بين مصر وبين سريلانكا. وقال انه يعني سريلانكا تعتبر المعبر لدول جنوب اسيا، ومصر هي المعبر لدول افريقيا، فالتبادل التجاري بينهم كبير جدا. كمان كلمني عن اهم المنتجات السريلانكيه، طبعا الشاي السيلاني اللي احنا كلنا عارفينه، وان هم بيحاولوا ينتجوا انواع من الشاي تكون اقل سعرا شويه تصلح للسوق المصري. كمان جوز الهند، كمان البهارات المتميزة جدا في سريلانكا زي القرفة وزي غيرها اللي بتشتهر بيها سريلانكا، دي تعتبر أهم المنتجات. So after the commerce relationship or cooperation between Egypt and Sri Lanka, the most important cooperation is about culture cooperation. About the culture of the two nations, about the heritage of the two nations, as you said before. So talk to us about these culture cooperations between Egypt and Sri Lanka and what you are going to do in your future stay in Cairo, inshallah.
Yeah, cultural relations, because whenever Egypt organize cultural events, so we send Sri Lankan teams, maybe dancers, maybe other cultural items to perform those.
You have traditional dances and music?
Yes.
With a special costumes, I know.
Special costumes.
Special colors in costume. You always use green and yellow and orange, such as in the flag, yeah?
Yes. Because Sri Lanka is a country with rich cultures. So we have main ethnic groups, the Sinhalese, Tamils, Muslims, and we have Malays, etc. So we have a rich culture combining all these cultural items. So when we go abroad, we promote and we demonstrate our cultural heritage in the cultural events taking place in the countries outside Sri Lanka. And we have sent cultural troops to Egyptian events. When you organize the cultural programs, we have sent. So similarly, we hope Egyptian cultural troops also visiting Sri Lanka in the future.
What about your festival in Sri Lanka? As you said, you have many religions and cultures in Sri Lanka. So also you have many festivals. How do you celebrate these festivals in Sri Lanka? How to share with each other these celebrations?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the main cultural events are related to one is the religious factor, other one is their tradition, ethnic factors. Now main event, the Sinhalese and Tamils New Year, so that falls in the month of April, in the mid of April. So that event is celebrated by almost all the people in the country, because the majority, around 85% of the population, that's their own.
What's the occasion of this celebration?
This celebration is the dawn of the new year according to our calendar. Because the English calendar, it is January 1st. But the local Sri Lankan culture. So we have a new year that start in the middle of April. So that new year, we welcome the new year with lot of cultural events. So that is the event. And everyone celebrate that. That is called the New Year of Sinhala Tamil New Year. And then apart from that, we have events. Christmas we celebrate, and then we have Hajj event, and then we have Ramazan, the Ramazan event also. Ramadan.
For
Islamic people. And then Ramadan is a holiday in Sri Lanka, when the day of Ramadan. And the Christmas.
All the months?
Not all the month.
The first of Ramadan.
Yes, the day Ramadan is
the
celebrated.
First day of Ramadan.
Yes. So that is celebrated and encouraged people to celebrate that. And we also celebrate some of the other events like Sivaratri, in Sri Lanka, and all religious events we celebrate in Sri Lanka with other communities.
سعادة السفير بيكلمنا عن التعاون الثقافي والاحتفالات اللي أنا سألته عنها اللي موجودة في سريلانكا، وإزاي بيحتفلوا طبعا بالرقصات الشعبية الخاصة بيهم والأغاني الخاصة بيهم واللبس بالألوان الجميلة اللي هم بيشتهروا بيها. فقال لي إنه في طبعا أعياد دينية بترجع لكل طائفة كل ديانة موجودة، وفي أعياد عامة للشعب والمجتمع كله، أعياد وطنية، منها عيد بداية السنة الجديدة بالنسبة لهم في سريلانكا اللي هو نص إبريل تقريبا، وفي أعياد دينية زي مثلا رمضان بالنسبة لنا كمسلمين، طبعا بالنسبة لهم بيحتفلوا بأول يوم رمضان وبيكون أجازة. في أعياد الكريسماس اللي طبعا المسيحيين الموجودين في سريلانكا، كل طائفة بتحتفل بالعيد الخاص بها وكلهم بيحتفلوا مع بعض. About the role of women in Sri Lanka and about women in parliament, about women in governmental institutes and something like that.
Yeah, Sri Lanka has been giving enough opportunities for women to come up in the social strata. And Sri Lanka is the first country which produced a women prime minister in 1960. Mrs. Thirimavo Bandaranayake was the first women prime minister. And from that time onwards, the Sri Lankan women have been playing an important role in the economic sector as well as in the social sector. So now we find more and more women are in the public sector, in the government sector, and how we achieve this is by giving equal opportunities for them in the educational sector. So once they are provided the opportunities, they will come up on their own. So this is the Sri Lankan experience. So we didn't give anything extra, anything special, but we have provided equal opportunities for them to educate in the government schools and the universities. So there is no kind of shortcomings for them to come up in the ladder. So that is, we find that in our system, in our culture, the women are well respected and they have been given equal opportunity. Because of that, their contribution for the economic development of the country have been very, very significant.
What about the cooperation between Egypt and Sri Lanka in education sector?
Education sector, we have very large scope because our experience in each other's country can be shared. So this is already started and already happening. So that start from the agriculture, that start from the education, that start in the other areas. So if you take agriculture, so our agricultural ministry officials are coming here and they are being trained on harvesting, and your agricultural techniques and irrigation techniques are very advanced. So our agricultural ministry officials are coming annually and they are getting training here. They are going back and implementing them. In the same manner, we understand the Egyptian side is interested in getting the training in the pineapple harvesting. So Sri Lankan pineapple is one of the best aroma, best taste. So how do we produce that? And so we are in the process of giving training for the agriculture ministry officials to get training in that. So there are other areas as well. We are exchanging our expertise.
Finally, what about Sri Lankan cuisine? You told me about pineapple and something like coconuts, about spices, which is popular in Sri Lanka. So and cinnamon. What about Sri Lankan cuisine?
Sri Lankan cuisine special because we add lot of spices and we add coconut milk when producing the food items. So we have,
it's very useful for health also.
Yes, coconut is a very healthy ingredients to add to any preparation of food items. So when we make vegetables and we add coconut milk and the other spices, so all the spices that's called herbal spices are very healthy. And our cushion, main one, we eat rice, our staple food, and then when it comes to preparation of vegetables, it may be vegetables or meat or fish. So we add chili and other spices. So that is one specialty and known for its spices. When the visitors come, initially they are little reluctant to taste this, but once they taste, they will again and again look for that. They will ask the spices, the food with spices, and also with added with coconut milk.
So it's very healthy food.
Very healthy food, yes.
Thank you, sir, for your coming to my program, and welcome in Cairo, welcome in our program.
Thank you very much, Erin. I am very happy to participate in this program. Hope to see you again.
Thank you. الحقيقة يعني في النهاية بشكر سعادة السفير باثما نادن، سفير جمهورية سريلانكا في جمهورية مصر العربية. كلمنا عن نواحي كتير في جمهورية سريلانكا، كلمنا عن المطبخ والطعام هناك وقد ايه هم بيضيفوا البهارات وزيت جوز الهند للأكل، وده بيبقى صحي جدا لأن هم بيشتهروا جدا بجوز الهند وزراعته وبالبهارات. كمان كلمني عن التعاون في مجال التعليم بين مصر وبين سريلانكا، وعن دور المرأة هناك قد ايه مهم، وانه في فترة كان رئيسة الوزراء سيدة. المرأة موجودة في كل حتة، خصوصا في المصالح الحكومية وفي المدارس التعليمية في كل حتة، وليها اهتمام واحترام هناك جدا. سعيدة بحضراتكم، عرفنا ثقافة جديدة ومختلفة في دولة من دول آسيا هي سريلانكا. استنونا دايما وجناب السفير، فإلى اللقاء.